it's very opportune right now, given the state that we are in all across the globe in terms of, if you look at the United Nations sustainability goals, you look at the World Economic Forum, every metric that you're tracking on as to how you're kind of raising the bar or raising the needle in terms of equality and really fighting for equal rights for all aspects of inclusion, including gender, LGBTQ+. And so the idea really festered, I would say, a couple of years ago when I was here in the Valley doing executive recruiting. And one of the clients and because of my passion for inclusion with my career, every assignment that I would do in the exec search space, I would do a conscious outreach in terms of all aspects, in terms of, like I was mentioning, underrepresented minorities, people of color, race, ethnicity. So I did a lot of work for The Gap, which is one of the largest apparel brands headquartered out of San Francisco. And that's when I started realizing, there were two problems. One is when I was pretty successful in onboarding a few leadership hires that were inclusive in nature. But as I was doing those assignments, it just made me realize that the number of underrepresented minorities or gender candidates were so few. I could really literally count them at the back of my fingers. That's how few there were.
Wow.
And even the ones that were there, they were so reticent to really talk about their abilities. They were brilliant technically, but really kind of showcase their ability and really kind of landing the right platform to talk through their whole ability, I think, and to make the last mile selection. I think there was a little gap there. And so that's when I started thinking that how do we harness technology to really, reduce the unconscious and algorithmic bias. I wouldn't say eliminate because science is still not 100% proven, but really kind of use technology to at least create a platform that is compelling in reducing the bias and getting more of inclusion candidates onto positions of power. And it's great timing, as I was mentioning, because whether it's legislation in California with Senate Bill 826, which requires mandatory representation on boards. They have an Assembly Bill 979, which requires, apart from gender, you would need to have additional slates of inclusion on boards. And there's a lot of corporate activism, whether it's Goldman Sachs, BlackRock, all of them, saying that they will not take any company public unless they do have inclusion on their boards. Right. There's 9 other states in the US that require some form of reporting, mandatory reporting in terms of inclusion on boards. So timing-wise, I thought, that's the best, based out of my experience in executive recruiting. It kind of lended itself into this idea of the theboardiQ. And I was very fortunate that one of my last hires was for a Goldman Sachs investee company, where because again of my conscious outreach, I was able to onboard a person of Latino origin onto the CTO role. And his way of giving back to me was coming up with the name theboardiQ. And he actually, because he's technical, he made sure that the domain was available, and he did his little homework there. And he said, theboardiQ, because I see the passion in you, and the IQ really stands for inclusion as well as intelligent boards, because how do you enable boards to be more effective with quick decision making? I think so. That's how. That's a little story as to how the theboardiQ idea started, festering, and we're at an early stage right now with the company.